Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real relevant and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello, everyone. It is the Kim Jacobs Show. Oh, look, Sakinna, you like, girl, you ain't give me enough time. You know, man, my wings cold, they say, right?
It's okay.
I'm so glad to have you all. Just so y'all know, backstage, I told Sakinna, I said, okay, you go ahead and you share it, right? Then time you finish sharing it, turn your phone sideways, and you'll be right here in the broadcast. And of course, I'm like, whoop. Here we are backstage. So thank you so much, Sakinna, for just the spirit that you always have about you. You're such a pleasant person. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. And I'm giddy excited because I already know some of the things that's happening in your life, some backstory. So it's like, I feel like I've been to a wedding. You know how you smile really, really hard at a wedding, right?
Right.
The cheeks are like, that's all. Because I don't think I ever remember you smiling at that level in the other times that I've seen you. I've just seen just a few little teeth here or there, but now I see it all the way at the back. I'll tell y'all, that's just an inside joke for right now until we talk about it. Today, everybody, let me get very serious for a minute. But today, we are actually going to be talking about autism. And we're going to be talking about it from a different point of view. A lot of times when you hear about children or adults that live on the autism spectrum disorder, live with that is so much negativity associated with it. Mm-hmm. But today, I have a guest here, which is Sakinna J, who's going to be talking about it from her mom perspective. Yeah. And you're going to hear quite a bit of information in this hour. So grab your virtual seats. Let us know where you all are visiting in from. I love popping the comments up. So if you have questions, maybe you've been dealing with family members and children and you don't really understand what's going on, please ask those questions throughout this broadcast. I will let you all know that the views expressed are our personal opinions, our own thoughts and views. They are not always that of the show or of H-Art or CTR Media Network, all of these different entities I'm affiliated with, but we have our own personal perspectives on autism, and that's what we're going to be sharing today, both of us actually, okay? Sakinna,
yes.
How you doing?
I'm great.
Where are you located?
I am located right now in Pennsylvania, in a little town called Lancaster.
Okay.
So we're just about an hour and a half out of Philly.
Okay, yeah, I know where it is. And you actually have to bring the sunshine there yourself because it's probably still cold, right?
Yes.
But at least you have brightness on the inside, huh?
Yes.
That's fun. All right, listen. Everybody, as you're grabbing your virtual seats, I think I already see a comment coming in. We'll just, throughout the broadcast, acknowledge your comments. But I see you, Zena, saying, good morning, Queens, is what she's saying. So we welcome you, Zena, to the Kim Jacobs Show. We'll pop your comment.
Good morning, Mom.
Oh, that's your mom?
Yes.
What's your mama doing? What's your mama doing with a Facebook name called Zena Thrower? What you doing? What you doing over there, Miss Zena? she grown, right?
Yes.
That's funny. It's such a pleasure to have you on. Now, my mom is normally on, so she must be in her car doing something where she can't get on yet, but she'll probably get on at some point. She said, good morning, beautiful to you, is what she said. All right, everybody. Let me introduce our wonderful guest today, Sakinna J, as she calls herself. She's a 3-time best-selling author, certified transitional and family life coach. She's a social worker and CEO and founder of I Choose Me Enterprises, LLC, a company that helps women regain, restore, and rebuild their lives after experiencing domestic violence. So I'm sure we're going to talk some about that as well. But she helps other women take back their power and live their best lives as their best selves through one-on-one coaching with her 5-step program. So I need to make some notes of this stuff. 5-step program. Violence, okay, because there's been a lot of stuff I don't already read, and here we need to discuss. She is a Philadelphia native who currently resides in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, with her. Well, I can talk about that with her and her family. I'll leave it at that. And she attended Millersville University, where she received her bachelor's in arts and psychology and her master's in social work. So anyway, there are lots of accolades to Sakinna J, ranging from being able to be a radio station interviews that she's been on and different shows that she's been a part of. Black Women Mean Business, Canvas Rebel, and Shout Out Atlanta, you name it, she's been a part of it. The Butterfly Effect, the CEO Experience. So I am so pleased to welcome Sakinna J to the Kim Jacobs Show today. Glad to have you, Sakinna J.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. Okay, so before we dive into our talk today, which is about autism, just so everyone is fully aware, that's what we're going to be discussing today. And when we talk about autism and what it is, it's actually a developmental disability that's caused by differences in the brain. So some people with autism spectrum disorder have a known difference, such as a genetic condition, but some other people have the condition, but it's not scientifically understood as to why it's happening. So we're going to be deep diving into that conversation a lot more today. But I'd love to hear just some of your backstory, Sakinna, if you don't mind talking to us and telling us who you are and where you come from.
Okay. Well, as you mentioned, my name is Sakinna J, 3-time best-selling author. I started my writing and business journey I want to say it's only been 2 years. So yeah, I want to say November of 2021. So not quite 3 years. I started on my writing journey, and then from there, just working with different coaches and just building and just really trying to figure out where my passion is really at. My passion is helping all people, but you can't help everybody. You got to narrow it down a little bit,
You learned that where? Where did you learn that? The training that you went to, right?
Yes, lots of training and just figuring out you can help a lot of people, but just kind of zoning in on your niche. So that's when I decided to work with women who've experienced domestic violence. I myself, I don't like to say survivor, but I'm a domestic violence thriver.
Okay.
And so, yeah, that's how my journey started. I started writing, and once the first book became a #1 bestseller, I got bit by the bug.
Once you write a book, then you're like, you know what? At that point, it's like, I have to get what God has put inside of me out to the world, right?
Right.
Because this is technically going to be your mark on society. Yes. Some of the things that will allow you to leave a legacy that lives way beyond your years of being here on this earth, right?
Exactly.
So your story will go forever. So what's the name of some of your books or your books?
Blessed Not Broken, Volume 4. And Blessed Not Broken, Volume 5 are the first two I'm in. And then I'm also in a daddy-daughter dynamic.
Okay.
So all of them pretty much geared towards one story tells about, my domestic violence situation. Another story talks about me growing up as a teen mom. And then the daddy-daughter dynamic just talks about my relationship with my father and how it shaped all my other relationships.
Interesting. See, now I know I've had you on the show before, and yeah, your mom said when God is in it, there are no limits. That's the point.
Absolutely.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly, Miss Zena, that once God is in it, it's no limits to what you can do. When you talk about your daddy-daughter dynamics, can you tell everybody how did that shape who you ultimately become?
So your relationship with your father is very important. And so as a young girl growing up, when your father is absent, you tend to look for attention from that male figure in other places.
Mhm.
So I went as far as being promiscuous too early, dating men way older than me, like way older than me. Um, and just like searching for that male interaction. And I was in contact with my father, but in the same token it wasn't always good communication,
Right, right.
because he himself chose a lot of women before being a parent.
Okay.
So there was a lot we had to come back from. It was a lot we had to talk about. My title in that book is called The Decisions He Made.
Mm,
So that way, I kind of geared towards, these were decisions he made as a parent based on how he was parented.
okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes you have to give that forgiveness to your parents because they're only parenting you from what they were taught. And it wasn't until I got older and had conversations with like my parents that I realized, okay, you did that because no one taught you how to do this, or you reacted that way because no one really taught you how to sit and talk to your daughters.
Right, right,
Especially for men and girls are kind of, they're like, oh, I provided, or I was there if they wanted to talk, but not really like taking them out on dates and telling them how beautiful
right.
they are. And so I struggled with my self-esteem for a very long time,
Okay.
because of my daddy-daughter dynamic.
I'm really glad that you said that because there has to be some level of grace when you're dealing with a father that is absent or a mother that's absent. But a lot of
Absolutely.
times I know people that have come on the show have had daddy daughter kind of scenarios typically. And
Yes,
and they can only parent from the place that they know. So it's not that
exactly.
they are trying to do anything personal to attack you or to harm
Hmm.
you because clearly they love you. Your parent, I'm
Right.
sure, loves you. So, but they can only give what they have, the capacity of what they have to give, especially if they are not connected to a higher source that holds them accountable for whatever the
Absolutely.
case may be. So I really love the fact that you've taken that approach with your dad and giving him that grace because that's inspiring to viewers today too. Let me see. I'm trying to see. Oh, is that it? Is that the book?
Yes, that's the daddy-daughter dynamic.
The Path to Healing. So what healing do you feel came from you having your daddy-daughter dynamic?
Well, so when I was growing up, I feel like there was a lot of different stories, a lot of different, like, I had to hear from my mom certain her perspective on things. And I have an older sister who's 7 years older, had to hear her perspective. Then I had to hear my dad's perspective. And my dad actually struggled with substance use when we were growing up. So
Okay.
it's like some things he didn't remember and some things he did. So it's like, okay, offering him that grace, like, okay, we all know that drugs have a way of, messing with the chemistry of your brain. So
Mhm.
there are some things he might not know. So just really having those tough conversations with him, letting him know that the choices he made, how they affected me.
Mhm.
Um, and just trying to rebuild our relationship because we didn't talk for a long time, um and it just wasn't allowing me to have healthy um relationships of my own, like healthy
Mhm.
relationships with my own partners. So I really needed to heal from whatever that daddy daughter dynamic was that was holding that weight on me, so that I can move forward in my relationships.
I'm really glad, even though I know that's not today's topic. Today's topic for everybody that's tuning in is we're going to be talking more about autism and this mom of six, how she actually is raising children with autism as well, in addition to just general motherhood that she has.
Right.
And so I'm really glad that we did kind of veer off for a minute to just talk about the daddy daughter dynamic. And is this the book as well, The Blessed?
Yes, blessed not
Blessed
broken, the
Not
power
Broken?
of letting go.
I was trying to find it while you were talking because I didn't have a copy of them.
That's
And then the other
okay.
one is
Yep.
Blessed
And when
That's
being
Not
strong
Broken.
is, yep, when being strong is all you know.
Okay. And so in those two volumes, what do you want readers to walk away with from your stories in those volumes?
So for the Bless Not Broken, the Power of Letting Go, that too was a healing process. That was freeing myself, not beating myself up, forgiving myself for allowing me to be in such a toxic and abusive relationship. And so that was very healing for me, like writing, and I really struggled because I was like, I don't want to tell people my business. People are going to judge me, but I got so much good feedback, and sometimes we just need to let go of those very toxic relationships. It doesn't matter who it's with, or, if it's not adding any value to your life. Yeah, it's time to let it go. So that's what the first one is about, volume 4. And then volume 5 is being strong, is when being strong is all you know. That chapter I geared around just being a teen mom, getting pregnant with my daughter after my freshman year of college, and continuing to go on. I graduated with my bachelor's when she was 3. So I continued. I think I took 1 semester off to have her, and then I just went straight through. So it's just taking you on my journey. All the obstacles I was faced with having a baby daddy who didn't want you no more, and taking care of that child on your own, and just that chapter is more so geared towards helping younger moms. Wow. Because you don't know how strong you are until you have no choice but to be strong.
And so that's the chapter in that book. Is when strong is all you know.
Exactly.
That is a powerful title for a chapter. When strong is all you know, girl. And I know I live that in my life as well. And you're forced to be strong in a lot of different instances where other people might buckle in those situations. It's like, I don't have time for that. I don't have time to be buckling right now. I need to stand stronger than ever. And when you've done all that you can do, according to the word of God, guess what? Then we still should stand, and we should stand even more flat-footed instead of buckling, because that's when we're needed most in a lot of situations and circumstances,
So for that chapter, I actually went into how I became a teen mom, and then ended up pregnant with twins when my daughter was 14. So
okay. So when the baby daddy didn't work out with the other situation, then you thought this situation definitely gonna work out, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, here we go, right? And that didn't work out, right?
What situation?
With the twins daddy.
Oh no, I just married him.
You don't supposed to say that yet. I don't even bet or anything. I literally don't bet, don't play the lottery. I don't even know that. I would have to get a whole tutorial, and I'm not even joking. So my friend jokes me all the time. She's like, girl, if I ever win, I said, well, if you win, then please, for the love of God, give me some or whatever. But for me to go in there and hold the whole line up and try to get an understanding of, what do you do here? What do you do? Anyway, one of these commercials in the North Carolina area is Kevin Hart. He's a comedian. And he makes this one joke. He's like, made my wings cold. And he's talking about this betting site. He's like, made my wings cold, draft cream. And he was going off, right? So now that's how I feel right now. I'm like, you done let out the bag, Sakinna J. You're not supposed to be doing that. I'm joking. Okay, listen. So the twins, oh my gosh. The twins' baby daddy. Now you done say it all. Let me just go and say it in the world. The twins, which are these beautiful twins here, their baby daddy is, what's their baby daddy name?
That is George. That is my husband.
All right. So Mr. George became your husband when?
Last Saturday, April 13th. Oh, there's all of them.
That's the whole crew. So you and James have become
George.
I said George. Okay, George. You and George have become husband and wife as of last weekend.
Yes.
And you have to tell us about how that came about. How did you become husband and wife after having these twins and dating and having a dud kind of situation from the past?
Yes.
Talk to us.
It honestly was one of those situations where you didn't expect it to happen, and it just kind of happened. It's like, as much as I kept trying to force myself to just stay his friend, it was just like, this is what God has for you. Like, why are you trying to friend zone him? And then prior to us meeting, like, I was just coming out of a very toxic relationship.
Right.
He was coming out of a very toxic relationship. So we just kind of like, took it slow and those sort of things. We really just became best friends before anything.
Mm.
And then, of course, like, I ended up giving in. I ended up giving love a try, and I'm so glad I did. Um, but of course, it had to come with a lot of healing, and like I was going through therapy and things like that. And
Right.
he had said to me, I'm not going nowhere. Do what you have to do. I'm going to be right here when you're done. And I was just like, so it didn't matter to him. Like I was like in therapy and trying to just work through all the things I had been through in the previous relationship. And he just waited and he
I love
just
you, George.
yeah.
You won my heart over. Oh my gosh. So I love the fact that what you're saying is that if the right person is that person designated for you, your soulmate, they
Right.
will give you the grace to be able to get yourself together and still not go anywhere. I love that.
Exactly.
I love that. And
Exactly.
here you all had obviously become parents of your twins, and
Yes.
he's like, do what you have to do. Not, and I'm gonna be right here.
Yes.
And George stayed right there. And hence,
Yep.
tell us the lineup of these beautiful the six children that you are mama. Talk to.
Okay. So we are a blended family. We have one boy, which is right there behind George. He's George as well.
All right.
Um, so we have the one boy who's 23. And
Okay.
then we have 5 girls. So Nevaeh is right next to George, the husband.
Okay.
That's our 19-year-old. Next to her is London. She's our 14, soon to be 15-year-old. And then on the other end next to me is Brielle. She's 13. And then the twins are 4.
Awesome. Beautiful blended family. And I know again we're talking about autism today, but even you have so many topics we could talk about. So how
Yes.
is it with a blended family? I mean, I'm trying to get all the topics in an hour here. So being able to balance life as a wife, a mom, an entrepreneur, and then also having to deal with all of these personalities from a blended parent perspective. Please tell us briefly about that.
Oh, yes. That is one of the most challenging yet rewarding things. Um, it's not easy being in a blended family because, of course, my daughter was and I'm only saying mine and his just so that you can differentiate between the kids. Typically, we just say our kids.
Right. Yeah.
But my 19-year-old, she was an only child, and then his son is by another woman, and then his 2 girls is by another woman. So they were raised differently.
Okay.
So yeah, they were raised differently. And then I have my only child who's like a spoiled brat, not used to sharing. She's just, the world revolves around her, right?
Oh,
So then you take,
okay, wait a minute. I got it because I have to. I'm a visual person, so I need to. Okay, that's or with the gray kind of showing through, or her sleeve.
no,
Your left.
the 19-year-old is the little light-skinned one next to the groom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's very petite, and she looks like she's the youngest of the girls, but she's actually the oldest.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, so
So she's the one with the long,
she's
what all braids. I see right there to the right. Okay, go ahead.
yeah.
Of George.
So she actually she struggled. It was a struggle with her because she went from being the only child
Okay.
to the oldest girl of 5.
Now she had to deal with it. It's like, look here, y'all. Y'all gonna listen around here because I'm not gonna
Right.
be.
So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, mom, not only did you choose to get pregnant while I'm 14 and have kids, I'm in high school, you get twins, and then on top of that, you bring these other 2 kids in here. Like, what are you doing? So it has definitely been challenging, but rewarding at the same time because I feel like my connection with each and every one of them is different.
Mm.
So I just feel like like two of his children already call me mom.
Mm-hmm.
They've been calling me mom before I even became their stepmom. So I have a really good connection, and we have an amazing time together. And so it's just one of those things. Everybody helps with the girls. So it's just one of those things where it's like, it can be challenging at times.
Right.
But it definitely has its good times as well.
I'm really glad that you're taking the time to indulge me in talking about marriage, talking about the blended family, talking about teen motherhood. You've said so many things. Listen, if you are a blended family as well and you're tuning into today's episode, make sure you share your story with us right on the Kim Jacobs Show at kimjacobsshow@gmail.com. We'd love to possibly feature your family as well. So bring the information in the story. If you're a teen mom, if you're a person that just recently got married, or you're long-term marriage and you want to share some tips on here. Your mom said you are an amazing mother.
Oh, thank you. I get it from her.
Oh, y'all are so sweet. I love it. I love it. Okay, listen, everybody. We are talking today with Sakinna J, and we're talking about how to deal with autism. And with her being a mom of twins that live with autism spectrum disorder, we want to be able to talk on the second half of the show about how does she do this? How do you manage your children that live with autism? And especially with this being autism acceptance, it's a big difference, not just awareness. Autism acceptance. Let's accept some of the things that we're learning about regarding our children that have autism. So let's take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to hear more from Sakinna J, or really Sakinna J. Lewis now. Leave it at that. I'm going to put a whole government name out there. Sakinna J. All right. We'll be right back right after this break.
Hi, I'm Kim Jacobs, the Managing Director of the Charlotte, North Carolina chapter of eWomen Network. I am so excited that you stopped to watch this video. I've got good news for you. You've just discovered an international network of women entrepreneurs who are committed to helping you achieve, succeed, and prosper. We're on a mission here to help 1 million women entrepreneurs each achieve $1 million in annual revenue. Here at eWomen Network, we have a complete success system that supports you every step of the way in building and growing your business. You being here right now is no accident. We're supposed to know about you. We want to meet you to find out how we can help you, as well as learn about what you have to offer. With over 500,000 women connected through 118 chapters across the United States, Canada, Australia, and the United Kingdom, you are never alone. If this is resonating with you, please go to ewomennetwork.com/Charlotte. Notice too my contact information. I invite you to reach out to me and to check out our upcoming in-person and online events. I'm really looking forward to introducing you to our special community.
So you get to see me with all that hair, right?
I was about to say, you look so different.
So I took some scissors and some clippers. Well, I let one of my sons cut my hair, and he took me down so low. I was like, boy, I ought to slap you. I mean, you just had, I don't know if he took out his anger or what. I mean, I said, but you know what? I was trying to get the perm out of my hair, and he ended up helping me out, which I was like, thank you so much, son. You know? But I love just having my hair with no perm anyway. But I can do perm, wig, whatever I feel like doing. But I do like this look too.
Yes.
Right. Listen, you guys, if you haven't been familiar with eWomen Network, know that I'm the managing director in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, and we have our events. And one of our big events that's coming up is going to be, and this might timestamp the video. So if it's not April that you're watching this, the month of April, then just enjoy the replay, because I'm definitely replaying this again. But on April 30th, we have an event at the Charlotte Museum of History with our founder, Sandra Yancey. And she's going to be talking to us about how to unlock business success. I have a tickle. Secrets. So make sure you pay attention to that. All right, talk to us, Sakinna, about autism. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so first off, there's such a huge misconception around autism. And it's something where you have to catch it early on. You have to get early intervention is key for your kids to become successful once you realize there's a delay. For me and my kids, like I actually used to be a therapist that worked with children on the spectrum. So it was like after their first birthday, I started noticing that the words that they could say, they could no longer say. They were late walkers. They didn't walk until they were like 14 to 15 months. And when they started walking, they were only on their tippy toes, which they still currently do. And so I'm just like, something's a little off. Now we take them to the doctors often. You fill out those little those milestone reports that the pediatrician gives you. Those reports, they seem really tedious and they are really nerve-wracking when you go to the doctors. But it is very, very, very important to fill them out because you'll be able to see like, okay, my kids aren't doing this on the, at the right age that they should be doing it. And after like, I want to say the second time of them not hitting those milestone marks, I was just like, can we get early intervention? I told the pediatrician I wanted the early intervention. She was just like, you sure you don't want to give it a no? Absolutely not. They're clearly behind. They were doing a lot of like hand flapping and just making sounds. And so we got them into early intervention like right away. I think they were like 18 months. Yeah, it was like right before they hit 2, we got early intervention involved because some kids just have a developmental delay.
Right.
Some kids just have a speech delay. And a lot of times with early intervention, you can kind of tackle those speech delays, those developmental delays.
Right.
What happened with my girls though were they were in early intervention, but they still wasn't catching the speech. There was still the toe walking, the hand flapping, the sensory needs. Like there's a lot of textures of food, textures of clothing, trying to find shirts that have tagless tagless shirts because my one twin is just like this all day and she can't tolerate it. So I'm either cutting them out or buying her tagless shirts. So it's definitely such a huge misconception around it. It doesn't mean, your child is mentally retarded or it doesn't mean like my children are labeled nonverbal autistic.
Okay.
They're 4 years old. They have level 2 autism. They comprehend very well.
Right.
But it's just the speech aspect. They're not really talking. They still have a lot of sensory needs. They are still very triggered by change, any type of change in their schedule, any type of anything. Like I'm very grateful for my mom and my other kids this past week because while we were on a honeymoon, they were going crazy. So just changes in their schedule. So yeah, definitely early intervention is key when you start to see that your children have any sort of delay.
Yeah. I'm glad that you're saying that because a lot of times people on the outside observing don't understand what the child is experiencing. So they're like, and I'm just putting it as a blanketed statement, but sometimes people are like, girl, she fine. Oh, she don't have no autism. She just need to be told how to act better in a certain environment, and people are
Oh
getting
yeah.
into the business about your own children and the diagnosis that they've received. So what are your thoughts pertaining to when people are trying to tell you how to parent your child with the diagnosis that you've received? Any thoughts?
You want the clean version for your show, right?
Sakinna J, I didn't even know you had it in you. What in the world?
No, but
World.
usually, like I don't go and like curse people out or nothing. But I will say no. You know what I mean? Like they're having a hard time.
Right.
She's really having a hard time. I've had family members and people say, "Oh, you just need to pop her. You need to beat her. She's just acting out as they're throwing tantrums." And it's like, no, something's setting them off, and I need to figure out what it is. So I try my hardest to ignore the negativity that come from people that don't understand, while
Right.
also educating them
Mhm.
and getting them to understand. One of the people that it comes to mind as we're talking about this is like my grandma, right? She's
Oh,
78.
old school.
Yeah,
They like,
so she's 78 years old, right? And so she's just starting to understand. They're four, but before she didn't really understand it. She's
right.
like, what's wrong with her? She don't hear me talking to her. Like, and so my grandmom is hard of hearing too. So it's
Right.
like so it's like she was somebody that I felt like I had a really hard time trying to explain, and she would be like, "Oh, put her on the phone," and I'm like, "Grandma, she's not going to talk to you," So she's just like she's starting to get it.
Okay.
And so we were actually just at her house maybe like a week or two, like 2 weeks ago, and she was just like, she's crying. What does she want? Like, what's
She's changing
wrong?
her language.
Yeah. And then one of my babies bit her. And so, because we're doing the biting.
She gonna get a spanking messing around. You like, girl,
yeah.
Think about no autism. I'm gonna get you. You gonna keep on your tail over there and sit on down somewhere.
Right. So she bit her, but when I say she did extremely well, like I can tell that she's understanding more about their diagnosis,
Right.
and about their needs. Usually you're at my grandma's house and you come in the house and you try to go in her refrigerator or anything, she gonna let you have it. You ain't wash your hands.
That's your grandma, my grandma, everybody's grandma.
You
My
ain't wash
grandma
your
would say, "I'll
hands.
beat you back in." I'm like, you gonna beat somebody's back in? What does that mean? This is a lot.
Yes. So with them it's different. Like they'll go in her snacks, or they go in her refrigerator and stuff. And she's like, "What you want out of there? Come here, grandma, I'ma give it to you." Like, so she's really starting to understand what they can understand and how to engage with them with such a big age difference.
That's right.
So I just take my time and just like, no, grandma, this is what you got to do, or this is how you got to do things. And teaching other family members as well, how to interact with them, making sure I inform people of the trigger words.
Right.
Because
what are some of the trigger words that happen with your children?
Yeah, so they get triggered. Yeah, they get triggered by no. They get triggered by stop. Pretty much anything that will deny them access to something that they want.
Well, that's where the borderline comes in, because children that have just general bad behavior also get triggered by those words. If they're in the grocery store or they're at a department store and they're told, "No, you're not going to get that toy," then does that then make them autistic? No, it might mean that in that particular instance, the child is just not used to accepting the word no.
Right.
So it's just a fine line, and that's where the teaching and the training comes in.
Yeah, so they would have tantrums. They still do. They'll have tantrums, fall out on the ground. So what I started doing is like, instead of telling them no or stop, I'm just like, "Here, give to mommy. Give it here." So when I use different words, they're like, "Oh, she's asking me to give it." It takes away that negative, that harsh, like no, stop. Don't do that, So we definitely do try to find words that are a little bit more softer.
That's good.
That's not triggering, that allow us to still have a win, right? Because we still need you to give me that if that's dangerous for you to have. but just finding words that are less triggering for them.
That's good. I'm glad you're saying that. And I know my daughter is autistic as well, and a very intelligent young lady, brilliant honor roll student, and just an amazing young lady. But there are
Yeah.
certain things that really agitate her to a
Mm-hmm.
whole different level, and I know that, and so I go to great extremes to help modify the situation,
Right.
giving what I know it can do to agitate her at that level, because she's
Right.
not a person that's agitated at all. So if this bothers her, then I'm going to make sure that I help prevent it from happening in her life as much as I can. So
Exactly.
I'll give you an example is certain noises, it sends her into oblivion. So she'll put on
Mm-hmm.
she'll put her ear pods in, which are the noise canceling ear pods. Then she'll put a set of headphones on top of that.
Oh, wow.
And so it's just like, I mean,
She
I
needs
can
to
hear
really
you,
block that out.
but I'm gonna block all of this drama and noise out.
Yeah.
And it's just something that comforts her and it makes her feel better. And
Yeah.
in certain environments, sometimes like if we, especially when we're visiting churches or different, like forget a concert. I'm not even she don't even want to go to she don't want to go to nobody's concert at all. At all. So I don't even invite her to a concert because I already know that's
Yeah.
just not her cup of tea. And it's nothing wrong with her. It's just that that's not what she wants to subject her ears to, you know?
Right.
So when we are in church, I know I have to make sure she has those little orange, these, I keep them with me all the time. These, the earplugs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You start doing what you need to do as a parent to make sure you're
Exactly.
equipped with what your child needs,
Yeah. That's,
So,
I get a lot when I'm out in public. Actually, it just happened to us. We took the twins, George and I took the twins to Bahama Breeze. It's a restaurant
okay.
in King of Prussia, right? And this guy comes up and he's like, I really appreciate what you guys are doing. And then it happened more than once. So it happened when I was out with George, and it happened when I was with my mom in a restaurant with them.
Mhm,
And it's like people see them,
mhm,
and depending on whether they have a family member who's autistic or they know someone who's
right,
autistic, or if they're autistic themselves and you just can't tell,
right.
a lot of times they're like, they appreciate me bringing my kids out, and I tell people all the time, it's more about preparation versus isolation. I am not isolating my kids in the house just because they're autistic. My
That's right.
kids go everywhere I go, and
That's
I
right.
just make sure I'm prepared. I make sure I have snacks. I make sure I have the iPad. That is a must.
Well,
Make
yeah,
sure the
that's
phone is,
quiet, right?
yes, make sure the phones are fully charged.
Mhm.
And just making sure their needs are going to be met, so that if there is like a place like church, they love going to church. They refuse to wear their their noise canceling headphones, because they don't like stuff on their head. So
Right.
that's another sensory thing. So it's like you buy the things that they need, and then it's like, oh, I don't like stuff on my head. So
Well, I'm not doing that. And
yeah,
so
we're not doing that.
that
So
was a
now we
waste
have
of
a
money, right?
right. So it's just like trial and error. What works, what doesn't work, what's make them comfortable. And this is the thing people don't get. When there's
Right.
twins, it is very different. So what could be setting one off at the time may actually be soothing the other one.
Oh,
So
then
it's
what?
like
Oh my gosh. So you have to
yes,
treat them individually based on whatever their
yes,
individual needs are, not just assuming because they're twins that they
exactly.
accept everything in the same way. I love that. And then another comment that just came in too from Angela. Thank you so much for being here today, Angela. She says, I love that. Preparation, not isolation. And I see quite a few people that are on, but I don't acknowledge your name unless you type a comment. So that way I'm not putting you out there in case you just creeping and watching.
Stop by to watch.
Let me also say this too with my daughter in particular. She is big on, like you say, texture. So it's
Uh-huh.
certain things that, like, she'll wear, if I buy a pair of like comfortable sweatpants, but the inside is fuzzy
Oh,
and the outside is just a certain material. So she'll wear the pants inside out and the tag is showing. And at first I was like, you have your stuff, your stuff is inside out. She was like, Mom, I'm comfortable. And so I've decided, and then all of her shirts, like you said, every shirt, I don't care if it leaves the two holes there where
Yeah.
you have the tag, and it's like,
Yep.
we're
Gotta
gonna get
go.
this tag out of this shirt, no matter if it leaves two bulky holes that look crazy. And at the end of the day, to other people, because
Yep.
she's not crazy at all, and neither are any of the children that have autism. They are fine.
Yeah.
They're displaying the way that they know with the ability that they have to be able to try to communicate to the best of their abilities on these situations. So if that works best for her, is certain slinky materials that she loves. But then I went to the store and bought all of this stuff for her because she's very low maintenance. She does not care about name brands, and she doesn't give a kitty about any of that stuff. But I went and got the material, and it still wasn't soft enough. Oh my girl, I don't even have a receipt messing with you.
And see, sometimes, people like to, if a child has a sensory issue, they like to stick it to their diagnosis, right? But here's what's interesting. So George does not like to wear really like cotton shirts. They have to have like a soft material to it. He doesn't like anything rough on his skin. His sheets has to be a certain count. Like he just likes certain things on his skin. And he's not considered autistic. For me, I don't like to touch like gooey, slimy stuff. I just can't touch it. But I'm not autistic. You know what I mean? So it's like we try to be like, oh, it's because they're autistic, but some things are actually just a preference.
Preferences, right?
It's just a preference. Like my mom, she doesn't like gummy candy. She doesn't like anything like gummy bears, gummy worms, anything that slides around. Nope, she won't do it. So It's like, how much of it is the autism and how much is it is just your preference?
Good point.
But because we know that they have autism,
right?
We're like, oh, that's a part of the spectrum. That's a part of the. No, not really. Like maybe they just inherited
in my life.
Yeah.
And then we actually have family discussion about it, Sakinna. And then my daughter, she'll say, if you go and take the test, saying this to some of her brothers, and she's like, I pretty much think you would be diagnosed. But the thing is, guess what? And she even said that she said that to her grandma. She said that to everybody. I'm like, I can guarantee you, if any of us probably took the test for real and went through the formal diagnosis from a medical physician, a lot more people would be autistic and on the autistic spectrum disorder than what's currently diagnosed. So we shouldn't be so eager to judge individuals, because according to all of the statistics, there are quite a few folk that are living with the autism spectrum disorder.
Yeah.
Actually,
and even with your children, even with your children, like my children being considered nonverbal, right? They have words. It's just they prefer to use sign. I think they prefer to use signs. My one twin prefers to use sign. And my other one, she's actually starting to recite her ABCs and her 1, 2, 3. So it's like we're with therapies. They are in extensive therapies. They're in ABA therapy. They go to a special autism school. They actually, starting today, they're going to be getting extra speech therapy. So now that they're getting older and they're able to sit and actually do instructions and sit through instructions and, in a classroom setting, now they're able to go into speech and really try to get some things working with them being able to talk a little bit more. My children also uses, I don't even have, they have it with them at school. They have what's called an AAC device.
Okay.
So it's an iPad, and the school speech therapist programs anything you want on it. Anything possible. And so they'll go to snacks, and they'll hit snacks, and then they'll hit gummies, or they'll hit cheese curls, or they'll hit but it talks for them.
Oh, wonderful.
What I've noticed though, and at first I'm like, no, this is not, how is this going to work? You know,
Right.
the iPad is talking for my child and it
Mhm.
say, I want to go play. I want this. During Halloween, they put a trick or treat button on there. So
Okay.
they knew that every time they hit trick or treat, something went in the basket.
Oh, they like,
So
oh, we get ready to get some candy.
yeah, so we did that. But what I learned is by them constantly hitting the buttons,
Mhm.
they start to repeat what they're hearing.
That's good.
So they'll start to repeat certain words on there. Um, and so it's working really well with them requesting things, um, requesting what it is that they want. They use sign language. Um, and they're just doing amazingly well. I know within the next year or two, they're going to be talking my head off.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I know it. Like I can feel like they're gonna be talking.
That's good. 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 I'm so excited about their progress and how God is blessing them through this. Yo, your mom said, "Look, there's nothing wrong with my babies," and we agree with you. It's
She
something.
says that all the time. She says they are very smart. Kim, when I tell you any type of, you know how you put up barricades in your house, like keep your kids
Right.
safe, you know, you got the gates, you blocking them out of this room, you got
Right.
this, you blocking them out. There's not anything we've tried that they haven't maneuvered and figured out. I mean, they figure out everything. They are so smart. Um, they just don't have the speech, you know what I mean? And once that's just it. And they're not able to tell you how they feel or what they don't like. So, you know, the meltdowns, like right now we're in our phase where we don't like to go into stores. We don't like to shop. We
Then
pull
you would get
into
somebody to help you, one of the children or whomever,
right. So
dad,
somebody
while you go
has
in and then come back out.
yeah, somebody usually has to stay in the car.
That's okay.
If I'm by myself with them, I usually give them my phone. So if they have like a cartoon on, it kind of distracts them from the
Right.
store that they're in.
Right.
So I definitely do I told you, got to make sure the phone is fully charged at all times.
At all times, if you have a child that is autistic and is on that end of the spectrum, whatever the end is, make sure you have the tools equipping your children with what they need to have the best experience. Because
Yes.
again, they're assigned to us as parents.
Right.
And so whatever they need, my daughter, she's very, very articulate and she'll make it very clear to me, Mom, and she's not being sarcastic or anything, but she's a true
Mhm.
advocate for herself. So
Yes.
she's like, Mom, I noticed that today you said that this is going to be happening, whatever this is, fill in the blank. And I
Uh-huh.
would say, okay, that is what's happening. She said, well, do you mind telling me in advance so that I can know that that's going to happen on that day versus you just telling me right at that moment? And then I'm
Uh-huh.
like scrambling around trying to figure it out. But to me, I've already given her like 24-hour notice or whatever. She's talking about the day you find out. Like if it's a week ago, let me put it on. And she has a calendar. She has a vision board. She is
That's amazing.
extremely organized. Like
Yes.
everything is very structured. She'll wear like the same sneakers. And I'm like, what? I don't bought her like 3 or 4 pair of sneakers. But she's like, well, those don't have memory foam in them. So now I'm like, oh, I will not buy a pair of sneakers without memory foam. And if you take me out and say it's memory foam and she put
Yep.
her foot in there and it's not real true memory foam, she knows it. You know?
Yes. Yeah,
So
we go through the shoe changes throughout the year. My one twin was infatuated. Somebody said, get her Crocs because they never keep shoes on their feet. So somebody told me about getting Crocs. I personally hate Crocs. That is my personal feeling. I
this is
cannot
getting not the views of the show, y'all. She
not
don't
the views of the show.
Sakinna J don't
I
like no Crocs.
personally cannot stand Crocs. So their godmom went and got them a pair of Crocs. They fell in love with these Crocs. Now the weather's changing, right? So it's starting to get cold and they still want to wear Crocs. So I put the Crocs on with socks. But then it started getting wet outside and snowy. And so now it's like, okay, I have to buy sneakers. So when I went and bought sneakers, it has to be something like glittery and pretty. they don't really like black sneakers, which right now they got black sneakers, but they got all this sparkle all over it. So I just try to make it work. I take them in the store with me. I'm like, you like this? You like that? I let them pick out stuff. Because I mean, if they were able to speak and they were your typical 4-year-old, you would be taking them in the store. Oh, what about this? Do you like that? So I do the same thing for them.
Yeah. My daughter, she doesn't want anything new. That's the thing. She's like, you don't have to buy me any of that stuff because I'm good with what I have, but it's mismatch and it's not, it's like, girl, we can ready to step out. She was like, well, can I wear what I have on, or am I not allowed to go like this? I'm like,
right.
Can you possibly just wear one of the dresses that I have? And at first I would kind of try to force the dresses that I purchased. And now I just let her pick out which of the dresses accommodate what she feels. And she's like, Mom, see, this has this material inside, and she'll show me. And I'm like, Kim, why can't you get this whenever you're it's like, I feel like, at this point that Angela is making, which is a really good point, and tell me if you feel this way I do. They say the soul of our children choose us to parent them.
Oh, I like that.
And I do. I agree with that. I agree. God knows exactly what our children need and who he wants us to be as the parents that he's lent. And I believe my children are lent to me because we have our permanent home that we're going to be in ultimately. And our children are given to us for a temporary time right on this earth. And I'm honored to be my children's mother. And whatever disease, disorder, whatever, first of all, I do rebuke it. Now, let's be clear. I rebuke all of it in the name of Jesus, because I believe wholeheartedly that our children and ourselves can be healed of anything. And that's my personal belief. Not the views of the show always, but Kim Jacobs' personal views.
It has definitely been an experience for us. I'll tell you what, George had no idea about like autism. Like, he didn't understand. He was a little in denial. He was one of those parents that was a little in denial. Like, no, they were preemies. So, because they were preemies, you got to get their brain time. And it wasn't until he started to go to therapy sessions with them, or go and they see how they were interacting and things that they were learning. And he was like, oh, wow, like, it's definitely been a very humbling experience. I tell people all the time, like, I'm super patient with them. The way I'm talking to you is typically how my voice stays, even when they're having a meltdown, even when they're throwing stuff at me, even when they're biting and kicking me, because we have had those moments. But I try to stay at the same level, figure out what the issue is so that they can come out of their meltdown, because I don't want them to hurt themselves or hurt me. Right. So it's definitely it's challenging, especially when you're trying to do everything else in life. You're trying to work, you're trying to, build businesses, you're trying to maybe cook a meal or something, and they're all in the kitchen. So we definitely do work as a team. As far as like our scheduling, we do have older children, so they'll help out, like, excuse me, if I need to go into a meeting, or if I have something to do, or I need to run to the store. It's like, okay, watch your sisters, they don't like the supermarket. I'm gonna run to the store, I'll be right back.
So good teamwork.
Yes, a lot of good teamwork. And then of course I have people like my mom that don't mind watching them. Sorry.
I had to tip on my throat, so let me know if you need me to remove you off the screen for a second. Hold on. What I'll do, let me know. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready to come back on, when your tickle gone, because I had to hop off the stage a second ago myself and grab some water. But listen, Sakinna J, you guys, I want to make sure you know how you can stay connected with her. You can email her at sakinnaj601@gmail.com. Sakinna J 601@gmail.com, or you can also connect with her on Facebook, and that's at Sakinna J Alston, or on Instagram at Sakinna J. And you good back there, Sakinna? All right, okay, I'll pull you back in. See, this is teamwork. You have to look out for each other, right? It's like, don't let me go to a cough and fit on this show. Y'all stay connected with Sakinna J. And if you have any kind of closing words of encouragement, advice for those that are parenting children with special needs, period, regardless of whether it's autism, what advice would you give them today?
Definitely identify your support group. Identify who your supports are. You can't get through it alone. It's not something you can try to isolate your child or think people are not going to understand. You just need to get the right support system. And although people think I have it all figured out, I am a part of a lot of autism support groups on Facebook, on Instagram. Definitely, if you feel like your child may have a diagnosis and you're not quite sure, go early intervention. Early intervention is going to be key for your child to be successful. But definitely identify who your supports are, because you're going to need that support. You're going to need mental breaks. It's okay to get frustrated. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to lock yourself in a room and cry, because I have been there so many times. Yeah. And it's okay. Give yourself some grace. It is definitely going to be okay, but you definitely want to make sure you have support.
Sakinna, you're an amazing mother, and I'm sure an amazing wife as well. I get to know you more from the mother perspective, but listen, that giving yourself grace is so necessary, because we're not able to do every single thing. So it's okay to say, I need help. You see, I'm struggling over here. And sometimes, believe it or not, some people don't see that you're struggling because people can't read our minds. So if you need help and you're parenting a child, especially, we need help even when you're parenting children with no diagnosis, okay?
Okay.
So if you have a child that has special needs and you need some help, reach out and say, hey, I need somebody to just give me a moment of reprieve here. I need a me moment. I need to go to the movies. I need to go grocery shopping. I need to stay right here in the house. On my books that I do, Extreme Balance Makeover, I talk about how you may just have a moment where you're right in the house and you have somebody that you hire to come in right there while you're still in the house, because you may not feel comfortable leaving the house and the person being there and they don't know what to do. But I've had like my niece come in the house and work with my child and say, okay, I'm still right downstairs, but just call me if you need me. But I need a 2 minute, 3 minute, an hour, 2 hour break.
Exactly.
Okay, well, this is good. This is really good. Get early intervention. You've shared some great tips. Identify your support groups. Get on those Facebook groups and comment, share your thoughts, share your issues, your worries, your concerns. And I know Sakinna J actually went through a training that I offer, which is called How to Start Your Own Show from Scratch. And so if you're interested in being a part of our next group training, I have 2 more seats available for the one that's coming up. And I strongly recommend. Do you recommend people take the training?
Oh, absolutely. It was amazing. It was amazing.
And I am glad that you were a part of the training. And so your new show that's going to be coming out very soon is called what?
It's called Autism Talk with Sakinna J. So follow me and you'll get the details on when it's going to premiere.
And you guys, I hope it's going to be coming out soon, because the world needs what you have. Autism Speaks or Autism Talks. Which one is it?
It's Autism Talk with Sakinna
J. Autism Talks with Sakinna J. I really want you all to follow her on all of her social media pages, because she's going to be talking everything autism. If you know of parents and family members that have children that live with autism, make sure you get them to tune in to her episodes that will be airing very soon. So you can follow her. Where can they stay connected with you?
I'm on Instagram at Sakinna J, SSAKINNA J. I'm on Facebook under Sakinna J Alston. Last name is ALSTON. And also you can email me at SAKINNAJ601@gmail.com.
All right. And as you can see, again, she's newly married and they are a blended family. So that's the father of her twins. And that is their complete blended family that they have there together. So congratulations again to you, Sakinna J and George. So I'm excited about, and you say your last name now is Lewis. So
Yes.
Mr. Lewis, I'm so glad that you found a beautiful, beautiful being in Sakinna J. And congratulations.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Did you have a good time on the show today?
Oh, this was amazing. It was great.
Was there anything you wanted to say that you didn't get to say? You know how you're at close out, you're like, girl, I meant to say this.
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I want to let everybody know that I'm very grateful that you all tuned in today. Please make sure you share the broadcast with everyone you know. And if there is anything that has helped you in this episode or in any of the episodes as we bring balance to the world one household at a time, please make sure that you all provide some type of monetary donation to the Kim Jacobs Show. And you can do that through Cash App, $ Kim Jacobs Inc. Or you can also do it through paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. or through Venmo at the Kim Jacobs Show. Every contribution is greatly appreciated, and it allows us to continue daily programming. This is not something that you can just do and not have any funds coming in. So we need your support, and we appreciate your support very much. So thank you all so much for everything that you do to make the Kim Jacobs Show possible. All right, everybody, on that, closing comments from the studio audience. Have an amazing day, your mom said. On purpose. And Angela said, love the Kim Jacobs Show. So awesome. Thank you, Angela. Great show, ladies. Blended family. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your new show. All right, everybody. That's today's episode. Thank you, Mackenzie backstage. Thank you, Sakinna, for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Audience. I love you all. Have
Bye.
a great one. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you and make it a great day.